Okay, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about a framework for anyone who's ever felt like, a spectator in their own life, kind of stuck in the loop of just surviving. We're talking about that quiet but super powerful decision to pick up the pen and finally become the protagonist of your own story.
Does this hit home for you? That feeling of being an expert critic of TV shows, of other people's lives, mainly because it just feels safer than writing your own script. You're analyzing the whole story from the sidelines, because actually stepping into the arena and facing a blank page, that can feel completely overwhelming.
So this is what we call the spectator's comfort zone. And it's a space that's born from necessity, really. It's where all your energy goes into just coping with a world that isn't always built for your brain or for your body. You end up losing yourself in other people's narratives because, honestly, it's a way to process things without any of the risk.
This quote just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It is such a powerful validation. Feeling this way, it isn't some kind of character flaw, it's a survival strategy. But the real question is, what happens when you're ready to write the next chapter? The one that exists beyond just surviving.
And that brings us to our guide for this journey, Guinevere Atlas. Her experience is pretty much the foundation for this entire philosophy. She knows exactly what it's like to use art and stories as a shield, and she's documenting her own process of figuring out who she is outside of that survival mode.
So, let's dig into the main idea here, the protagonist shift. Now, this isn't about some huge, dramatic, life-altering plot twist. No, it's about a quiet, internal decision to stop being a passive reader of other people's stories and start becoming the intentional author of your own. And it all kicks off with this deceptively simple question. When you've spent years just trying to get by, just trying to be useful to everyone else, this can be the absolute hardest question to answer. But it's the key. It's what starts to unlock you from that survival loop.
So the crucial point is this. We're moving from a defensive posture to a creative one. It's shifting from constantly fighting against the waves to intentionally building your own world, brick by brick, into something that actually feels like home.
So how do you actually do that? Well, this is where the framework of Romantasy and Routine comes in. And it's such a beautiful pairing of the art of your life, the aesthetic, the magic, the story, with the architecture that holds it all together.
And this visual just perfectly captures the Romantasy half of the equation. This is the whole vibe. Gothic architecture, celestial themes, dark academia. It's about curating the aesthetic that makes your soul feel at home and then intentionally weaving that into your daily life.
Let's break that down a bit. Romantasy is your why. It's your core values, the story you want to tell, the beauty you want to surround yourself with. And routine? Well, that's your how. It's the practical systems, the tools, the support structures that make living out your why not just possible, but sustainable. One gives you meaning, the other gives you momentum. And hey, if you're listening to this and you're just nodding along, then welcome home. This whole framework was built for those of us whose brains feel like they have a million tabs open at once, who experience the world with this really intense emotional depth, and who have maybe learned to prioritize being useful over being truly, deeply known. This leads us to one of my absolute favorite parts of this whole concept, reframing our systems as everyday magic. And this just completely bypasses all that toxic hustle culture. We're not talking about optimizing every single second for productivity. We are talking about enchanting our tools to make life gentler. And this just brilliantly shows you how to do it. Think of it like you're crafting your own spell book. First, you consecrate your space. Your desk becomes this sacred, comfortable altar. Then you choose your grimoire. A digital planner isn't just software, it's your personal book of shadows. And finally, the tasks you put in it, those are your incantations. It's a way to organize your thoughts that feels way less like a to-do list and more like a potion for an overwhelmed brain.
So here's the kind of formal definition. Everyday magic is all about intentionality. It's about using systems that allow a neurodivergent brain to bypass things like executive dysfunction and burnout, freeing up that precious energy for creativity and rest and joy.
And let's be really clear about this. The tools are only half the story. The other half is creating a sensory-safe environment. These essentials, they aren't childish or frivolous. They are critical infrastructure for your well-being. The cozy blanket, the noise-canceling headphones, that warm lantern light, these things create the safety you need to even open the spellbook in the first place.
Let me say that again. Your comfort is non-negotiable. The goal here is to build soft, sustainable systems, because honestly, hustle culture is what put us in survival mode to begin with. Comfort,
safety, and gentleness, that's the way out.
So, we've explored that feeling of being a spectator, and we've walked through the framework to help you reclaim your story. Now, this final part, this is about you. The pen is officially in your hand.
This quote from Guinevere is just so insightful. It perfectly captures that core human tension, right? Part of us will always crave the safety of the spectator's seat, the predictable, the known, but another deeper part of us aches for the storm, for the messy, beautiful, and unpredictable story that is truly ours to write. And that's really the final, beautiful invitation. This isn't a lecture from someone who has it all figured out. Not at all. It's a shared journey. It's a community of people learning how to live like the protagonist, one day at a time, together.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Don't worry about the whole 5-volume epic of your life right now. Just think about the very first page, the first sentence. What will your first chapter be?